Before we go any further, we will pause to seek guidance, please.
First day of summer, so that means every day from here on out is going to get shorter. And I was like, I understand that. Like, why did you say it's the first day of summer? It's going to get.
And now we will have the reading of the mission statement. To provide, promote, or facilitate municipal services that meet the community needs by preserving, supporting, and enhancing quality of life for all. The next is the council agenda, and before we go there, I would like to add under business items, number 3. Conway.
YMCA.
YMCA.
Where are we? Number 3.
Number 3.
I also.
No, I'm not finished. And I would like to move into in camera a legal matter. And also, I will be calling a conflict of interest when it comes to the Conway workshop letter, road conditions, and I will be asking Deputy Warden Matthew Ross to take over for that part of the meeting as I leave.
This be your first time in the big seat?
No. No, we've done it a few times.
Yeah.
Well, I mean in other meetings.
Yeah.
Now, on saying that, would someone, did anyone else have anything to add?
No, what you mentioned was my thing, right? Yeah.
I motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. The next is delegations presentations. We do not have any. So we will go on from there. And David, did you need a pen? I do.
It just fell apart, but I was able to get it to work.
Okay. The next for the minutes of May 25th, 2021. Is there any errors or omissions that anyone wants to bring forward?
Looked good to me.
I motion to approve the minutes of May 25th, 2021.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. The next is the CAO report. And with the CAO report, I want everyone to look, and we do not have any meetings coming up till July the 20th. At 5 o'clock, we will have the audit committee. At 6 o'clock, we will have the bylaw and policy. And that is the one where, if you have anything else you needed to add on, to please do so. There is on July 27th a council, and then we don't meet again until August the 10th at 5 p.m. for committee of the whole, and then we will be back on regular meetings on Tuesdays starting in September. Yes, Matthew?
I will be absent for August the 10th.
Okay. Matthew? Vacation, huh?
Vacation week. Yep.
I don't understand this. Every year you want a vacation.
I know. I don't understand it.
I mean...
It's triggering. It's coming. There's one coming too in July. I like it.
Oh, I think that's too much. Anyone else are not going to be able to attend any of the meetings this summer?
I've never been on vacation, or I've always been on vacation. Depends on how you look at it.
I'll go
We're not going to go there.
I think it's always.
I'm saying that. We are looking under the updates, and our new transit bus is expected to arrive probably now in July, because June is nearly finished. But on Wednesday evening, I should know more, even though we lost our new bus manager.
Already?
Well, he lasted 4 days.
Are you serious? He quit? What, were they yelling at him or something, or?
No, he got a better job.
That fast?
Yep. I assume he must have had 2 jobs on the go, looking in.
Yeah, furry.
Anyway, the airway runway repairs are complete. The beacon light was installed in February, which is great. The lift station electrical cabinet replace was installed in November. The Weymouth treatment plant building upgrades are complete. We looked at the Highway 217 sewer extension pre-design. The report has been received by us. The Smiths Cove Sewer Lagoon Division 50% cost. And with the divider installed, it should be less expensive due to the grant received. The pumping station pump replacement the pump is being rebuilt, or does it mean it is rebuilt?
It is rebuilt.
Okay, great. And of course, with our rural internet, we have approved $100,000 at the February 24th meeting. So we have actually spent $190,362.20.
That's what we spent so far to get for the high speed?
No, that's what we have spent so far on capital
Oh,
projects.
okay.
Okay. Is there any questions on any of that?
No, looks good.
Okay, next is our financial report. I would like someone to approve the May payables in the amount of $636,837.09.
I motion to approve the May payables of $636,837.09.
Is there a seconder?
No.
Is there any questions or concerns over the May payables?
No.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. The next was the income and expense report for April and May. Does anyone have any questions or concerns they wish to address? None? So would someone like to approve that we receive the income and expense report for April and May?
I will motion to approve the income and expense report for April and May 2021.
And is there a seconder?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Next, we're into standing committees, and we're going to the bylaw and policy recommendations. The first one is senior housing Julie Long,
Oh, no.
and with that one
The left code.
is number 2.
I motion to send a letter of acknowledgement to Julie Long to advise that the municipal council will advocate to the next MLA for senior housing.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. The next is the Delapse Cove Black Indian Pioneer Society.
I move that a response letter be sent to the Delapse Cove Black Indian Pioneer Society.
Is there a seconder?
Second it.
Is there any discussion?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried.
You don't want to hang out today in nice weather like
jeez.
this?
Next, I would like approval of the capital budget for year 1.
I move approval of the capital budget for year 1.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second that.
Any discussion or concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. The next is to move to approve year 2 to year 5 of the capital budget.
I motion to approve year 2 to year 5 of the capital budget.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. We will just wait for a moment.
Hey, George.
Hello.
Welcome, sir.
I hadn't known you was having a meeting, I would have been here earlier.
Oh, we had a party, it was okay.
Okay.
I'm just glad someone besides me is confused.
Well, my agenda on my computer said meeting via Zoom.
That's that, number 1. Okay, the next is under Committee of the Whole recommendations about the 988 suicide helpline. Would someone like to move this motion?
I move that given the alarming rate of suicide in
Slow
Canada,
down, please.
constitutes a national health. I can't read slow, I guess. The municipality, the district of Digby call on the government to take immediate action in collaboration with their provinces to establish a national suicide prevention hotline that consolidates all suicide crisis numbers into one easy to remember 3-digit hotline that is accessible to all Canadians. So I think that's a great motion.
Do you have your thing on?
No.
Thank you.
No one's ever asked me to do
You
something
asked
like that.
for it in a low voice. Is there a seconder for that motion?
I'll second it.
Any discussion on that motion?
It's overdue.
I agree. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. The next is the Weymouth Waterfront Development. There is a motion that has come from the Committee of the Whole. Would someone like to move?
I'll move we approve the Weymouth Waterfront Development request to partner with them on the beautification and streetscaping project.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. At this time, I am calling conflict of interest. Gotta get my mask.
Jeff, or?
No.
No, good. So this is pertaining to Conway Workshop road conditions. Leave that to you, Jeff.
All right. So as you see, we had a lengthy letter with a few different issues. So I just guess to give some context. So Shreve Street is one part is owned by the town of Digby. That's the street that the arena is on and the school, and then obviously Conway Workshop is on it. So the paved portion is owned. It nearly lines up exactly with what the boundary is between the town and municipality. So we pay the town a fee to look after the dirt portion of the road, both through winter and through grading with the backhoes.
Is that our 7 kilometers of dirt road? Is that what we're talking about?
This would be under a kilometer, right? This is a real short section.
This was not part of that line item?
No.
Okay.
So we pay on average $2,600 a year to 1 year was $3,200 a year. So not a giant amount, but every year. So I guess I would suggest I would disagree with the statement that it's been up to them to treat it like their driveway and that their neighbor is the only maintenance. We pay a lot of maintenance and it's plowed and salted all winter long. Now it is a road that is sometimes the spring it is in a bit of hard condition due to some of the traffic on it and the nature of their large trucks. But like I say, we certainly do put funding into it. The other thing, I guess, during the construction of the fish plant, for the first year, they did use that entrance on that end, and they were aware that would come to an end. They blocked that entrance in December. There's concrete barricades there that you cannot travel through that entrance. So that section about dust or speed or being used for construction has not been an issue since December of 2020. So I guess then if we're moving through it down to the issue of paving, if we were to follow our policy on road paving and there's only 2 residents, if we're to have that conversation, the portion that they would be responsible for, and then our piece of that, even for the length of it, unfortunately, I don't know how much everyone's familiar with, but Conway Workshop is at the very end of this section of dirt road, so it would be a relatively expensive project with only 2 residents, Conway Workshop and 1 private residence. So I don't know that I see pavement in the near future. So I think I guess my suggestion when we get to questions would be a response letter highlighting some of these things. They certainly can reach out to us, similar to our grading schedule, spring and fall. The town does try and look at it, and certainly I think at the timing of this letter, due to the last shutdown, it had not received its spring dress up. There's a challenging area when you leave the pavement and start into the dirt road is the worst section of any dirt road, paved road situation, and that is the same thing there. It's just past the elementary school. It's downhill. It gets all the water running to it. But
Yeah, that would have been in really bad shape. They hadn't got graded. We just walked off the entrance to the thing, so yeah, I'm say that it'll look the same as it did any other year going forward.
that's it. And like I say, the town has done some work there. That road used to flood quite a bit. The ditches have been repaired as part of this construction out back, that they're all flowing properly now. So future work should hold up better. But yeah, so like I say, I guess that's from my.
I haven't really looked or know much about it, but does it need some gravel or?
Like I said, that's what is buried in the town makes that assessment when they go through it. If it needs it, they know that we have the money to do it. They put some down. Yeah, I think Councillor Manzer has a.
Oh, yeah.
So once the barricades are up, there's no further float traffic through there? I mean,
No, and there hasn't been since December.
does anybody just leave their park and then walk, like, is it used at all for? So it wouldn't be any worse than any other years, and it shouldn't be after the traffic is cut back. Yeah.
I agree with what Jeff said. A letter explaining the fish plant is no longer an issue, that it does get, upkeep, the details, explain what we do for the upkeep, explain that obviously the timing was right before the grading. Maybe mention those things. Just what Jeff said. Do we even need a motion for that? Or I suppose
We do need a motion to send a letter.
You agree?
David.
Okay.
I move that that Jeff write a letter explaining what we do for upkeep and to point out that the fish plant's no longer active. That's some of the concerns. So, no longer.
Have a seconder?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
I'll go find.
Yeah, you wouldn't mind?
Wait, let me get my mask here. Linda? Where is she? Linda? Ah, there you go. She's reading the paper, I guess.
Well, she should be done by now then. There's only a couple pages.
Yeah, the paper's not very thick anymore.
Yeah, it's getting pretty short.
I stayed on the front page. I haven't finished reading it at home yet.
We did miss one agenda item.
Oh.
There wasn't a motion to it. There's a letter to the Minister of Municipal Housing.
Oh, there was something I
That
wanted.
came out of our bylaw and policy meeting on June 15th.
Mhm.
That was in relation to the speed of the grants, the
Yes.
funding for the
Yes.
grants. So if we could have a motion to send that
I
letter.
do apologize.
Uh,
I ticked it off, I'm sure we
Yeah,
did
and I
it.
don't believe there's anything in the package to support it.
I'll make a motion to write a letter in support of improving the funding for the municipal housing grant.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried.
I'm excited. Could you send me a copy of it just so I can read it?
What?
When that letter goes out. Well, yeah, I'm curious about what our letters look like sometimes when they go out.
Oh, you can always see our letter, I don't mind.
I know.
That's when I was.
I just, well, I know it'll be good. Just like to read these things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Under business items number 2, Freeport Community Development Association dumpster on the island.
Yes, the Freeport dumpster in Tiverton.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been doing this for quite a few years. There's a disabled gentleman who helps with hazardous property in his backyard. He's sort of there. It is awfully useful. As you know, we're quite a distance from the mainland with the ferries and all. I think that what they're asking is reasonable because garbage is a municipal responsibility, and it's really awesome that these guys take on that headache year after year because it is a headache. And it's also been quite useful for that and enforcement by Waste Track. Between those two things, it really made a difference on dumping on the island. You just don't see it anymore.
Okay, Matthew.
after looking at the financial report on the back, it looks, when you look at the expenses over the 3 years, 2.5 years, compared to the user fees, they're only short $530. Now, I do realize I've looked it over several times. I'm taking into the fact that there is an upcoming $2,500 charge. I'm assuming $500 is for
$3,000.
it's a 2,500 letter. I'm just going by numbers that are here, David. I don't know any other numbers. So I'm assuming $500 is for dumpster work and the $2,000 is for dumping fees. However, when I look at it, the way things are billed, I'm having a hard time with, the last time they were billed was the end of April this year. So from the end of April till now, June 22nd, they're getting a bill for $2,500.
A lot of construction going on lately.
Well, and that's okay. But when you add it up with the 2 user fees from April and May of $430, was there a mistake in, if you had $2,500 worth of construction fee of litter, wouldn't you have more in user fees?
I'm thinking that they're not including I think they give if I remember correctly, it's been a few years, they give $1,000 a year to the guy who takes the receipts and polices the dumpster and makes sure that people aren't filling it up with, because they will. If it's not in someone's yard, it gets filled up and no one pays. So he sort of keeps track of things.
I'm going to give you a little heads up. The island asked the municipality several years ago to have a dumpster. And the dumpster, we were going to remove it because it was so misused.
Yeah.
So they came up with, if we keep a dumpster down here and have someone take care of it,
Yep.
And so that was the deal.
Yeah.
Now, I am like you, I don't understand how what they owe isn't what they've taken in. Because Greg doesn't charge a lot.
No, and
I
was going to actually bring that question up.
Also a thing that might be going on here is Andy Moyer has taken over the chair of the FCDA from the previous gentleman who was Dr. Rick Wallace. So he might be in the process of, reconciling books. And if you have any questions with him, I would say get a hold of Andy.
So then I would suggest.
Jeff has his hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jeff. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I looked at the financials. It is a bit challenging, so we've got 2 partial years and 1 complete year, right? I think to agree with Councillor Tudor's opening statement, this is a great service that prevents a lot of illegal dumping or problems with our regular stream of the garbage. So it has been a good partnership with the FCDA. It's difficult to look at 2019 because we only have a partial year information, and it's very difficult to look at 2021 because we have even less. So for 2020, which is the only full year, it looks like they lost about $1,000 that year, right? Greg is a big, or Digby Salvage comes in at just over $3,000 worth of fees for them for 1 year, and they pay their laborer. They paid them in that year $2,000.
Oh, good.
And then for fees, they collect just over $2,000, and we help them with $2,000.
But we already give them a grant for $2,000 then.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah, sorry. We give them a grant for $2,000. We have since 2016. We've been giving them a grant for $2,000.
And then before, I think that was before I got elected. That used to be in the yard of the ward in Thurber. He used to keep care of it.
And then there was a year it moved somewhere else, and everybody kept getting stuck trying to go down between users trying to use it and the dump trucks, right, or the garbage trucks. So it's been through some evolutions of.
So it's quite a few years.
But I guess I am like Matthew though. We give them $2,000 a year. They should be taking in enough money. Our $2,000 was to help cover the person, if I remember rightly. Now that you said that, was to help cover a person that they were getting to do work. they were supposed to bring in enough money
Right.
from the residents who are using it to cover the bill, which is not a high bill.
What's the drop-off cost for people to drop things off right here in Digby?
Well,
I really can't answer that. I know there's different, it's according to the weight, what they charge you. If some is $15 under a certain weight.
I'm just wondering, like, when, for our drop-off station, it's sort of like the Islands' drop-off station.
But
I
they,
hate to lose it
No,
or stick it
but-
on a community group that we are already, I feel, kind of relying on, maybe not entirely fairly.
no, but what my concern is, they are asking us for money. We already give them $2,000 a year,
Mhm.
okay? My question is, and I think this is where we have to go back and ask, why are they not taking in
He said,
the amount
they said
of
why. They
money?
addressed it in the letter.
Well, I don't see that it's
It's
addressed.
$60 above a half-ton load. They don't want to do more because they think that people will just won't do it.
But
What's
What
the,
I'm- what my
I think, what's the half-ton load for up here? I'm just wondering to have it's a similar service, so I think it'd be
that's
fair.
what we have to check out. I just, yes.
So it's not, we can't compare, it's gonna be by weight, so
Okay.
that's the issue by and again, I understand that the FCDA doesn't have scales,
Right.
And they're never going to, but that's likely one of the problems here, is the Digby salvage bills are based on weight. So I think we all know, you can mound up, if you're charged by the half-ton truck, you could have a very heavy load that you get charged $60 for. If you were to bring that same load up here, that could be a $400 load. But
That's maybe what.
that's, how we reconcile that is very difficult. Like I say, the FCDA has no scales.
Okay.
We've
But
also
it's just that
paid-
my concern
It's been
is-
$2,000 a year for 10 years too, so it hasn't gone up. And I think that
But
these things
then
have.
has their prices ever gone up?
Yes, they did. They
they-
have put it up. They
But-
put it up per load.
But we,
$60 from what?
Well, it was like 40. It's been before that. It was 20. This is over last 10, 15
Yeah.
years now. It's more than 10 years. 15 years.
I'm gonna keep it to, let us speak one at a time, not everybody jumping in. All right, I'm gonna start. Matthew, do you feel we should go back, or do you feel, what do you feel?
I feel where the letter is keeping with the intent that everything stays user fee, we're not trying to make money at this. If what Jeff was saying, because I was looking at the numbers only, I feel you need to have that down there. People are gonna litter it down, and it's gonna cost us more money to clean it up. I was just looking at these numbers, 530, Jeff's come up with 1,000. I have no problem with $1,000 to keep it even. I don't like the request of 2,500 because I don't know where that's coming from. Looking at these numbers,
So an extra $1,000 a
Keep
year.
it all even. I don't mind
This
us
is
coming with
just for today.
us paying the extra $1,000 a year to keep that going.
Yeah.
If that's what the shortfall is, then
Yeah, that's
I have no problem making a motion for that.
Oh, yeah, I'll listen to it.
No, we're gonna continue. We're not doing anything until we hear from everybody. Thank you.
Sorry.
Angela?
I agree, that's a good way to do it, what Matt has suggested. I think that it's important that it stays down there, and I don't think they should have to take a loss. But that's true, if we just cover the deficit, I think that's fine. If we've got someone
For
managing it.
$1,000. Okay, George, how do you feel?
I think it's important to have it down there. If you don't have it there, you're gonna run into a lot more cost and problems, people illegal dumping. So it needs to stay.
Okay.
And, we have to ante up a little bit more, then okay. I think 2,500 seemed to be a little on the high side. We're donating or giving 2,000 a year anyway. Another 2,500 on top of that just seems a little top heavy.
Okay. So I didn't quite catch the end of what Angela said. She said she was okay with $1,000 a year.
We paid 2,000 now, so we're gonna bump it to it.
I would rather us, when we're looking at our budget next year, look at that then. At this point, I can see us doing $1,000 this year.
Yeah.
I don't think you jump the gun until,
How much are they in the hole again here?
the other thing I feel that they have to do is look at maybe charging $75, which is not out of the way, especially if they had to run it up. But I think your taxpayer up here is paying, it's all over, and I have no problem with that. My concern is they've got to up their amount as well. And then coming next spring, when we're looking at the budget, and maybe, then we have a better thing to look at. That maybe we are gonna have to put it up to 1,500, so it makes it,
Yep.
we don't know that as of yet.
And maybe that'll give a chance for Andy to
Yeah.
figure this out where he's new, so.
$1,000 for now. Look at it in budget process next year.
Okay. So, I just don't want to jump in the gun until we have a lot more information. And like I said, that $60 for a half ton seems very, very cheap.
I don't want to be cheap on our end because this is a municipal responsibility, and I am. On some
But it
level.
is the homeowners also.
I'm also talking about it's not the responsibility of community groups and things, but they do a lot for us and we do a lot for them. So I'm not uncomfortable with that. It is one of those. It's a little different than your typical thing because this is a municipal responsibility.
Whether it's a municipal responsibility, it's still a resident's responsibility too.
Oh, I think they're definitely doing both.
Well, okay. Now,
I even sometimes pay for people's garbage to go in there.
So, Matthew, you were going to make the motion for $1,000 for this year? Increase? For this year only? Is there a seconder to that motion? Is there any further discussion?
Where are we taking the money from the budget? Where is this going to come from?
It will come under the budget. We'll find it.
Oh, okay, there we go.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. And when you send them, can you also say that we are looking at, perhaps they need to look at increasing a little bit?
I think they just did. I think that there has been a big increase.
Well, then that might make the difference for next year then.
Well, there you go, yeah.
See what they say.
That will come through, Jeff. The next was correspondence. We received from Tony Harvey a response for the
Business item number 3.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Business.
I have it there, and
Approval
I
of capital.
guess I just wanted to
No.
get it.
Where are we?
Okay, our next is number 3 is the YMCA. We all received a letter. This is very short notice. Is everyone had the opportunity to read this letter yet?
I have.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I'm going to be the one to start. The YMCA is asking for $6,500, but what they're focusing on, and what I'm looking at, is what we do over here for hours, the day camps, which are a small price, and that type of thing. I do have concerns because it is Annapolis County residents we're discussing.
Yeah.
The YMCA, as per se, in the building we were helping is a little different than trying to work out doing something that our recreation already does as well here. But I would like to hear from people, and I'm going to start with David.
I was wondering, is there anybody from do we have any sort of numbers for how many people from our area go to these camps?
I don't think too many, because it's a different...
That's what I'm feeling like too. It's different than the swimming thing, and I like to be helpful, but it's $6,000 for kids to go to camp. We could really use $6,000 for kids to go camp here. I've busy this week. I raised money for 3 separate kids this week to go to camp. And, it didn't even occur to me, to ask you guys. I want to support the ICMA going forward, but I'm struggling with this one.
Okay, George?
Unless there's a big segment of the population using that, like 100 kids or something, not for the day camps. I would be in agreement for the wellness center, or the center was different, right? It was used by adults, children, and everybody, but not just for day camps.
Matthew?
Yeah, I'm in agreement too. The ask was for the building to get, that whole face and view thing. I also know that the camp stuff is the grants are already there, it's paid for, so that stuff's going to go through anyway, and you don't need $6,000 to do an online fitness thing through Zoom, so I would say we need to I mean, our area, like you just said, David, we got campers of our own. We need to put through, like,
Yeah.
the ask was nice because it was to help them.
I know,
and to build it and all that stuff, and that's why that ask came forth, and we've always supported them, but until they come up with another business plan, hopefully in the fall, something will change, they can come back and do a presentation, and then we'll go down this road again.
Angela?
I agree with the fact that I would like to see us wait until they're more settled in another facility and the money's going towards operating expenses. However, I do disagree with the fact that the people not going using the camps. Because I've been listening to a lot of conversations and a lot of people, like parents in Swiss Cove, they are missing the YMCA because that's where they go. That's not an issue for me.
Maybe
I know that
No, I don't think it should be anything.
Okay.
it's just that I don't know what their operating expenses. I think they're lower now, and at this time, I don't see like $6,000. I think we just should hold off until they get more settled in a permanent location.
So then, what we will do is send them a letter stating that we're waiting for them to have a more permanent home, and we'll look at everything at that point.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Do we need a motion? Okay, so can I have a motion?
I'll motion.
And is there a seconder? George? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. The next, is the Nova Scotia TIR Tony Harvey. Was his response for the Highway 217 turn in Roxville?
Is there somebody sick up there, like, lately? Did you hear anybody not well?
In TIR, you mean?
Yeah, like, we've had our sides of our roads, the grass has been cut twice in a month.
Oh, yeah. We got other things, we got wild
They
stuff.
haven't done it all last year, and this year they cut, a month ago, and today again, they were cutting the grass.
Election cut.
That's exactly. That's my.
It's my favorite time of the year, is election time.
It's
I
like-
hit up everybody I can possibly hit up.
Okay, and then we got the response from, again, Tony Harvey for Highway 101.
I'm gonna maybe do something more with those kids in regards to this, I don't want them to, I wanted to talk about maybe doing a don't drink and drive, don't speed, like, maybe some sort of like, thing like that, and it would be in September.
Yep.
When school starts up again, just because I want to show them even when you get an official no, sort of, there's still things you can do in the community that will be impactful.
Okay, yep, thank you.
Oh, Matt has his hand up.
Oh, Matthew?
I'd like to respond to the Highway 101.
Okay.
I'd like to, we can do something, write a letter back. I did bring the public report on the road safety review. The road safety review is was a report done in 2015 on collision data that was based from 2007 to 2012.
Right.
Since then, there's been multiple collisions, including 2 fatal accidents that I can remember. There's been a school zone that's gone up to 80 kilometers from 50, and with the closure of the Plimpton store and the McAlpine's convenience store, Wagner store has become a very busy hub for the community. And I would like to write back somehow we can have a investigation done in 2021 on the speeding lanes in front of that store.
Or maybe we need a whole traffic report.
Well, it may be, but I would really like to use this time to really look at that speeding lane, because it's a very dangerous spot.
Okay. I believe we have brought it up before with the speed
Yep, we
limit.
did.
And I have no problem, but I think what we need as well is to say that report is too outdated.
Yeah, it is.
And we need a new report. So we could put both in the letter.
Okay.
So are you making that a motion?
I'll make that a motion.
Is there a seconder?
No.
George, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. The next,
On the pavement down there, from where the old Plimpton store was,
yeah,
they started marking it all the way down to the Weymouth, the exit to the Weymouth, I think anyway, as far as there, every 50 feet or whatever.
Election, they do
It
that.
looks like a paving job coming this.
Love election.
And if it is, it's another 20 years before you get 101.
Yeah.
At least 20, it's.
maybe never.
Yeah, there's not going to be any, if they spend all that money paving, it's not going to be. Good, doesn't look good for the next few years.
Let's hope. The next was the Environment and Climate Change Office. We sent us a letter that they are doing a coordinating with the engagement process. And what they have asked us to do is to encourage people to contact Jason Howlett. And for the municipalities, what we're looking at for essential economy in our area. We're lucky, we have a climate change coordinator.
Yeah, let's get our idea. That's what I was going to say in regards to this letter.
So, what is council's feelings on people?
I'd like to see something go in about tidal energy, you know, the various our various green priorities as identified by our green energy coordinator. And also for him to maybe reach out to a couple of, you know, the local groups and the is it Jordantown? What's that group called that's put in the community center? Maybe reach out to them, for example.
Okay, but remember, they also want to hear from our Black, Indigenous, and low-income communities as well.
I could.
And that is something I would think that maybe we could put on our Facebook page and maybe try to reach some leaders in the communities to let them know about it.
A good one to talk to for low income would be Tim Long, too. He'd be a good one to talk to about that. I would reach out to him. And myself. You talk to me about that.
So we have, they want inclusive economy is essential, but they want to hear from everybody as well as us.
Rural isolated.
So there's more details available at www.cleanfuture.ca. So really, I think that's pretty well what can be done. Is we put it on the Facebook, and I mean, I can certainly send this off to some people.
I would like to see, I'd like to see a letter though produced by Terry. Do we make a motion to that effect?
It's not. We would only go on. It's not a letter that they want, isn't it?
It's not really.
Well, it's like, but they are looking for information and priorities, right?
Yeah, but they're supposed to send it
We need
in.
all communities to be involved. I look forward to hearing more about your ideas.
Yeah.
That's what, I looked through the letter a couple times when I read it.
Yeah.
Because what are they asking? But I'm taking that last couple lines as license for us to, you know, forcibly make our pitch for the vision.
Okay.
I think if we're going to do that, I think also in the letter, it says there is going to be do-it-yourself kit for groups and communities to facilitate their own discussions. Right? Like I think we need to understand what exactly they're looking for.
Yeah.
Information on, right? So like I say, I think we can look into this some certainly internally to try and understand what they're up to here. We've got our meeting on July 20th.
And we can bring that forward there.
Yep.
I'm always looking for some.
Angela?
I was just gonna say, I did go on to cleanfuture.ca, and it's a kit that you can get, and someone facilitates the sessions, and I think it is important. Like, I'd like to see Dunbury, Bruce, and Scobin, and I never thought of Terry at the time, but, you know, maybe he can reach out and get the package, and if he understands it, then he can reach out to, like, the Board of Trades or whatever, have them hold meetings to do the facilitation.
Excellent idea, Angela.
It's all laid out very plain steps and sort of
With the kit.
form.
I never looked.
The only thing I would
I
add
knew there was a kit.
is that COVID rules are still hampering. Well, we are allowed to meet. Other organizations and their comfort to meet is still going to be a problem during this consulting process. The timeline they have here.
Linda?
Yes, sir.
I'm always looking for a canvas for us to make our case strongly upon, and that's why I was just sort of thinking that.
And that's fair. But I do think that that's a good way to ask if it's okay with our CAO, that we go through Tyler, who will go through Terry to get us a kit, and we can look at it on the 20th of July.
Terry's on my side of the team.
Oh, I'm sorry.
As much as I'd love to pass this one over
I apologize.
Terry's on my side.
Oh, okay, I apologize.
No, it's all right.
I was thinking, it's just,
Yeah.
yeah. That's what I get when I want to say.
I'd be willing to do one of those kits
services,
in the island
another
too.
word.
I'd be alright with that. Doing one of those kits in the island for the villages.
The village, then go to the villages and ask them to.
I'll mention it. Alright,
you got-
I'll write it down.
Yeah, to go to it and get the kits. But we'll get one here for the 20th, and I apologize again, because I
Green.
said to Jeff, then I said, well, then we could drop down the chain, you know.
Mhm.
Isn't it nice of
That's the old chain, that's the old way.
I feel like Jason Holler.
Especially if we're pulling you.
Chainsaw.
Okay, the next was the letter from the Minister of Natural Resources. And that was about our Georges Bank
Oh, yeah.
concerns. So they're just letting us know. And they have the ability to extend the moratorium. Didn't say there is, they're going to, but they're saying they do have the ability.
I know. I love the ability.
Mhm.
There is an ability.
Okay, and the next was a thank you from the Society of Friends of Ferals.
They're expensive, but they're not expensive when you have a cat colony to deal with.
That's
Or
right.
an elderly lady with 700 cats.
Mhm.
They're a deal.
Okay, from here, the advisory committee minutes and reports. Did anyone have any questions on any of them?
Anything about with the food situation, George?
What's that?
Food.
Oh, I checked, last meeting, we had a question about the food. And it was noted, and a letter was sent off to Gordon Wilson with the concerns about the amount being spent per meal at the Tiger Terrace.
How low it is.
Yeah.
That's province-wide too.
But,
Brutal.
so a letter, was recognized, and a letter has been sent, did get sent off to Gordon. And the other question about food being dropped off, yeah, they were still, at that time, still accepting people that come drop off food. They just weren't quarantining it for 72 hours like they had back in the fall when they started that. They were just, people were bringing in food, they were just taking it and dropping it off to their respective people. So that was still, so I would imagine it's still ongoing.
Okay.
I know some municipalities have banned the throwing away of food. Like, for example, there's vast amounts of good food thrown out every day from, say, Sobeys, and I don't know if it's in Canada. They've done it in France. It comes up to my mind, where they just simply said you're no longer allowed to throw away good food, and as a result, all that food then goes to food banks. And just something maybe the toss them off, take a glance at. I'm sure the MGA, because it doesn't, you can't do anything unless it's expressly there. But it is sort of an interesting idea.
I actually read that, David, and what they do, you're right, it's, but there's so many rules here with our food banks, they can't take this and they can't.
Oh, I
take
know.
that.
I know.
And it's sort of
That's
scary.
why I must. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Because you're right. It's just like,
People drop me off all kinds of fish. I still use it. I don't care. They can sue me if they want. I know
But-
it's good. But it is. It's against the rules.
it's against the rules, and it's just like, I can tell you, I was
Fishermen
at the
can't give you
Westin,
fish.
and we had a, what do you call it, a little after meeting, little get together, and they were expecting 50 people, and there was less than 10 of us that stayed.
And so there's a ton of food there.
Ton of food, but it was cheeses. It was
Yeah.
cheeses from all over the place, and there was some drinks, but it was mainly cheeses with fancy crackers and all that. They had a wheel.
And they wouldn't take it.
They had a wheel.
Yeah.
You know? So in the end, I said to them, and actually,
Food fight.
one of the guys who was part of the Feed Nova Scotia was there. So I said, can you take this old Riesling, we throw it away.
Yeah.
It's already been out in the open, we're not allowed to. I said, that wheel, it's got the pieces cut out and the pieces laying there.
I guess.
No, not allowed. So then I said to the poor little waiter, I said, can you bring us some containers?
Yeah.
And he said, what are you going to do? I said, there's
Yeah.
enough people in the room. Can you guys take it and give it to someone or take it home and eat it yourself?
Yeah, really.
Well, we don't do this in Halifax.
What?
Well, I said, we do this in Digby. So
We do it in
the
Digby.
guy said to me, oh, I'm not allowed. Well, I said, here's what I'm gonna tell you, those dishes, we need some, dishes in our glass. Said, cause I'm scared I'll break them, or,
Yeah,
something's
spill
gonna
them out,
happen.
yeah.
So he did bring me the containers, and I said, please leave the room, we don't need you for a little while, we're gonna be here talking, so. But they were so hesitant of picking this, and it was cheeses. And I mean, if it had been touched, I could understand it.
I used to steal the Tim Hortons.
And so, in the end, a lot of it went, so there's still a lot left. And I mean, here I am down here in Halifax staying overnight, I couldn't take it with me.
Here down the hill.
But I could have
these
cried,
hippies.
because I was thinking,
I
hey, you live in Halifax, take it. But that's the sadness, because when the guy came back, he said, oh, you guys ate it? I said, yes, we did. There was still stuff there. He said, good, because he said, I can't let you take it out of here. I'd get in trouble.
Food poisoning offense.
Yeah, that's what they're worried about.
Lawsuit.
And you can't blame them, because we have become such a society. But I'm like you, I do agree there's gonna be ways that produce that's sitting there that's starting to get a little wilted, but there's really nothing wrong with it. You know,
Maybe that's something for us to someday, when Tyler looks like he hasn't got anything to do, we can, get him to take a little walk.
well, it might be something we can get in the future, but.
Yeah, but I know it's a non-starter because of the MGA though.
Okay. So, under the advisory, there was nothing, and the other council, no one had questions. We went right to the joint intermunicipal committee minutes, and we had tie view there. Other outside boards, committees, reports. Well, as I mentioned earlier, I just wanted to make sure everyone understood that our manager that was hired has left, and we are looking.
From where?
New
From
one.
King's Transit?
Yeah.
Oh my God. No surprise. I wasn't
He was
surprised.
there 4 days.
It wasn't a surprise, really.
4 days. But he accepted a job somewhere else, so it was.
I just had a question. So have you been able to retain the interim GM that was supposed to be leading?
It was asked, and I will know tomorrow night. That's why I've got to make sure I'm on the island at 2 and back here for 5, because I'm going to do the meeting right from here. So there are. The only other thing under boards is dark. And we are looking at a volleyball court being put up of two courts.
2 courts.
And they will be behind the swimming pool. And there's still room for washer toss, I want to say horseshoes.
Yeah.
Maybe horseshoes as well, for the senior games. Between there's a big wall there and the pool, there's enough room for them to play. And, yeah, it's staying all on our properties. So it's no, we're not gonna say it's gonna happen, we're looking at it.
Yeah.
What was that, sorry?
The two volleyball court.
Oh,
Beach volleyball,
That'd
I
be
shouldn't
very
say,
nice.
beach volleyball.
I'll get
It'd be about like the ones
get
you
my
used to have up
Speedos
front.
and my
You used to have 2
sunscreen.
up front there before the park went in.
Yeah, but
Volleyball courts.
Yeah.
beach ones, but actually you've got,
Sand there.
but you've got your road so close.
Oh yeah, well, I'm just saying they did have them there for a while.
Before the playground went in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But now they're looking at it for the behind there.
With that erasure.
I think it will be a nice thing. We also have day camps coming up. You can go through the website, all through the internet to look, and if there's a concern, you can always call and they will help you.
We're working on our capital.
Yes, we are looking at our capital. And the other thing I wanted to mention is that we're really pleased that we got a lot of grants for a lot of staff this year.
Was the announcement made about the
The bursary, they were going to notify this week. We do know who won, but I don't know if I'm allowed to say
Yeah,
at
I
this
don't know, we
point,
already.
because,
Okay. I was just wondering,
person has been picked.
how many years has it?
This is the first.
First year? Then what about the municipality? Would it be proper for us to offer the same thing to somebody in the district once a year or not? Would it be?
I don't know.
That would be, again, whether it was a step of the youth grant policy, or it would be something to potentially look at, again, pre-budget would be the time to.
Oh, yeah.
I had never thought of it before, but then when I heard about the one from Dark,
And I will
I
tell
don't,
you.
like when I was there, I don't remember anything about it, but so
Okay,
it's
and
only.
and there's a new one as well, the Manuel Adelar
Yeah.
Scholarship, for $1,500. And that's specifically for Weymouth. Now, the other thing that I think is a good discussion point, George, and I think it's something that you need to put on one of our agendas.
Yeah, we can do it sometime during the fall or
Explore
winter.
it. Because you gotta remember, it would have to be for St. Mary's, Bay Academy, Weymouth, no, that is Weymouth, sorry, the Islands, and Digby.
So when you come to St. Mary's Bay though, would it be just to any Digby residents? Or just?
That's something we'd have to work out,
Yeah.
because that's the same as, would it be allowed for the town? I don't know. So that's something we would need to sit down and discuss, but I think it's something that you need to come and put in on an upcoming bylaw policy,
Okay.
okay?
Yep.
You might want to do it when we have our fall one, because I think that's the time we need to start talking about it and looking at it. Excellent idea, though. Excellent, I think. Whether it ends up, but I think it's a great idea. Okay, the next is district council activity reports. And I'm going to start with Angela.
Okay, things still haven't been moving very fast for face-to-face interaction, but I have had lots of phone calls and emails. I've had some issues with noise bylaw or just complaints about noise, and actually had a complaint about the TIR cutting the lupins, and I contacted TIR, and they apologized, but they just said it was when their equipment's in the area.
Can I ask where?
Lansdowne.
That's like that letter I got about too many alders.
I
It's
can
gonna
tell
be all
you,
the
we
alders.
were,
I was looking like, man.
Yesterday, Sunday, we went for a drive, and we were looking at the places that had so many lupins. And I was saying to Wendell, there's some on the side of the road, I'd like to go get a shovel, because they're on the side of the road, they're not down in the ditch, even on the other side, they're right on the road, because I can't grow lupins.
You gotta prepare the seeds. They gotta be scratched in
Yeah,
order for the
but-
seeds to.
No, my dad planted 55 years ago lupins, and we only have like 2 plants left, and they just, however they spread, these never did. Yeah, I know.
They're quite particular for their soil.
Yeah, it's gotta be
Has to be gravelly and.
They just said they had other work in the area, so they did cut them at the time, but.
Okay.
So did I, like I say, I have been trying to set things up so when we can meet in person that we can miss the meeting, miss go, and so.
Matthew?
Well, again, same thing with COVID restrictions. Haven't been able to get out too much, but had lots of phone calls about roads and internet and emails and dealing with the various things in the district. Been attending our regular committee meeting. What else? That's been about it, I think. This month, anyway, it's going to get busier. It has 10 phone calls. We'll be getting a lot. You can tell COVID's coming to an end. So.
Okay. George?
Not very hard, maybe one road call. After the road you graded,
Yeah.
everything's great. That's about it as far as phone calls go. The same as Matt, a few Zoom meetings, nothing in person. The Weymouth waterfront is starting their music sessions on Friday though. If anybody's interested.
What time Friday? Is it 7 or 6:30?
7, I think.
Right on the Siskiyou waterfront.
And they open their information center on Monday, so. That's about it for me.
David?
Had Department of Transportation on the islands, and wow, they're doing everything on the list. Yeah, they're coming down, and my favorite quote I've ever heard from them before, in force. Wow, what a line that is. DOT's coming in force. Mental health intake, Linda, you were right. It was just us that had the problem solved, and it's everywhere else. And I'm now in the process of putting together my own little action task force to try to do something about this. It's unbelievably poor. As we had circumstances where 6 people tried to get through intake, all 6 failed, and they're now using a script to and so for example, you wanted to get there's 2 spaces on the island that you can get medical attention for at the school itself and the medical center. The school's been there for a couple of years. None of this is on. It's not even an option in intake. The list just goes on, and apparently the people in charge of it are saying that it's great. Intake is wonderful, and everyone else is the ones with the problem. In the face of complete absurdity. Raising money for a family on the islands. We've gotten quite a few now. We got several $1,000s and lots of wood and nails and all kinds of donations of time, like lots of people helping. I organized 4 vaccine clinics. There's going to be one in Little River, Tiverton, Freeport, and Westport. I'm talking to a gentleman with the Department of Health, and it's looking pretty good. So I asked around, and I had folks, I was wondering to myself, gee, I wonder if they've got a shot, and I asked a bunch, and not one of them had gotten a single shot. These guys aren't on the internet making internet appointments. Like, no, man, they don't even have a cell phone internet. Like, why are they on internet? They don't even use the cable. Lots of phone calls and emails about something that we'll talk about later, and I wrote a nice letter to Gordon. Instead of an angry letter, I wrote a very nice letter. He came through on several things. The school got another grant of $200,000 again. And the DOT's doing everything that's on the list. And the big one, of course, the big shocker, people have been promising this for, since my grandfather was pretending to be the Liberal candidate knocking on doors in Weymouth. So that was 60 years ago. The ferries are free. Yeah. So if you're if you're in Mink Cove and you want to go visit your cousin in Westport, it doesn't cost you $20 anymore. Right on. So I sent Gordon a very friendly, nice letter. Good old Gordon.
Dear Gordon.
Very nice.
It was. I did. I started at Dear Gordon. I did. There we go. So right on. So everything worked out. Everything's looking like good.
Okay. What I have done, we had a virtual meeting of the elected mayors and wardens, which was a 3-hour meeting, and the main thing was mainly really about COVID and how it's affected the economy, what it's been doing, and I'm sort of waiting for those minutes. Some ideas were given, and it's sort of, even though it's 4 provinces, they all pretty well have the same issues. It's interesting to be there and listen because, it's, oh yeah, that's right, oh yeah, that's right. I also attended the Joe Casey Humanitarian Award in Digby. That was yesterday, and it was 10 years.
Who's the...
And Gail Hersey was the recipient this year, and I would like someone to make a motion that we send a congratulations letter to her on this award.
I
Gail
move
is very,
using Gail
yeah.
Hershey a congratulatory certificate or letter.
I'd say a letter.
Yeah, letter in recognition of her award, her service to the community.
Okay, is there a seconder?
Looks like.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Just to let you know, Joe Casey's family is usually there, but there was a cousin and Duncan and his wife, of course. His brother was having cataract surgery that day, or they had it the day before. I wasn't quite sure what he meant there. And his sister sent a letter, because she's in Ontario and she isn't allowed down here yet. So, and the sister's name is Linda, so she did not come in as well. The other part, I was on a climate change meeting that Terry had set up for me for elected members, and they were impressed that we had a climate change coordinator, and listening to across the country. It was so many people, and this is what they were saying, have their heads in the sand. They do not want to admit there's any climate change going on, and if it's admitted, they're not. As a municipality, there may be one or two people in a council that is concerned, and the rest aren't. I was telling them some of the stuff we have done, how great Terry is. Maybe I went on a little bit too long. But it was really an interesting meeting. And originally what happened, I was at an NSFM meeting with the mayors and wards, and it was mentioned, and I thought it would be for Terry more so than me. And so there's meetings that are for him, but there are meetings for the elected officials. And of course, the first one he got was the electrical. Linda, I think it's meant for you. So I did attend. Again, it's virtual. I mean, we meet again July 20th, and then they don't meet again until September. But they're trying to hear what are the actions that's happening across Canada. Where are we? And it's through the FCF. It's being put on through the caucus. So I found that super interesting. The only other thing I wanted to mention is that I have been mentioning to people with the possibility of the Delta wave coming, if there's any way possible, and of course it's always their own choice, they should look at vaccinations. And you got to remember, even after you have your second vaccination, you're 2 to 3 weeks before you're fully vaccinated. It does not stop you, but what it does, it cuts back on your symptoms if you catch it. Okay?
And that someone from Western died today, a 50-year-old. There was 2 deaths today. One of them was from Western. So that's 2 people in Western Nova Scotia have died. What a miracle that's all it's been. What a miracle.
In our area, I agree. So again, I'm not asking anyone, but I'm just suggesting it would be nice if you felt it a good idea to get your vaccinations. They are actually pushing them back up now that it's only 60-some days between them. You really can go 28 days between needles, but...
Did you just call and ask Linda? Like, I know when I look at mine, it says not till the first time, September 22nd, but if you call and ask...
Oh, gosh, for your first needle?
No, I've had my first one. But
For your second one?
Second one. If I wanted to get it now,
okay.
Just call me.
All you do, you go on, I'll show you after the meeting. Or make a phone call. I waited 45 minutes for that phone call, but it was well worth it.
Yeah.
Because she said, oh, you're 2 days out of the realm. Just give me a minute, let me check something. Oh, yes, we'll just push you up. And tomorrow, my husband gets his second needle when it was supposed to be in September.
Cool.
So, I found it much easier actually doing the 45-minute wait than it was. I was on the internet several times, and I just could not get it to change me into the second vaccine earlier. So actually call the number. So, yeah, and they will upgrade you because, like I said, they just went from Wendell from September to June 23rd.
Wow, that's a difference.
Well, most people are now.
Mm.
And my mother, who had her COVID vaccine, they actually, for her, they told her right there that she only had a 28-day wait. And
Just
I
100.
said, of course, because I know it all, right? I said, Mom, I'm sure you misunderstood. They probably told you 100 and some days or the 60 some days. She said, I don't think so. The man that spoke to me, who gave me the injection, I think he knows what he's saying. And he told me 28 days. And my sister was there, and she was going. So I said, and I probably put my foot in my mouth more, because then I said, oh, it's probably because you're over 100, Mom. And I was going to say something else. Thank God I bit my tongue. It was like, shut up, Linda. But, yeah, so even my mother, who's 100, got hers, because I said to her, it would be good, and that way if we want to go to town and go into a grocery store, you'll feel safer, and I'll feel safer. So, anyway. So on saying that, that was all I had for my district reports. If there is nothing else, could we, we are going to move in camera for a legal matter, so could I have someone make the motion to go in camera?
I move that we go on camera.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried.